Well, good day. So for today, I got another full crossover video for you. For this one, I'm gonna yammer on about the time that SpongeBob SquarePants met his hero, Aquaman. You know, the king of the seas. So as per usual, let's recap the episode itself. I'll give you some of my incredible thoughts, and then we'll yammer some more about some things about it after. So alright, let's go. Well, the episode starts off with SpongeBob SquarePants and his best friend Patrick Star watching their favorite show,
Mermaidman and Barnacleboy.
a super awesome, solid superhero show. And man, SpongeBob and Patrick are like full tilt into this show. They're even dressed up in full tilt cosplay with their two favorite characters from it. So pumped up are they that they go outside and harass SpongeBob's neighbor Squidward, pretending that he is a supervillain. But really, man, the dude just wants to catch some rays and have a nice day. So he's all fed up, man. He tells SpongeBob and Patrick to go visit the real Mermaidman and Barnacleboy. They live at the Shady Shoals rest home. They're totally retired, and they're just hanging out all day. And so SpongeBob and Patrick do just that. And instead of harassing Squidward, they start to harass Mermaidman and Barnacleboy. They can't help it, they're just too excited to meet them. Unfortunately, Mermaidman has gone a little senile in his advanced age, and Barnacleboy just doesn't care, you know, pretty much. Just wants to have a nice, relaxing retirement. And that's what really pisses SpongeBob off. Why are they retired? Crime doesn't retire. Why are these guys retired? So now it's SpongeBob's mission to convince the Aquatic Duo to become unretired. So SpongeBob goes back to the rest home to convince the Aquatic Duo to unretire. But it doesn't go quite to SpongeBob's plan, and instead, it's really just pissing the living hell out of them. So the orderly does the superhero thing of kicking SpongeBob out. SpongeBob even gets Patrick's help to fake a purse snatching, so our two crime fighters can spring back into action and save the day, but that plan falls apart pretty quick. But with all these failures, SpongeBob still persists, to the point that Mermaidman thinks that SpongeBob is an evil doer, and he joins forces again with Barnacleboy to take out the evil scourge of SpongeBob. They attack him with water balls, but they have no effect on a sponge, especially underwater. They attack him with the raging whirlpool, but SpongeBob and Patrick think that's the coolest thing ever. So then Mermaidman calls on the creatures of the sea to attack SpongeBob, and the creatures of the sea happen to be the other residents at the retirement home. So yeah, they should be able to put on a pretty good show. And again, SpongeBob is like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. I get to see Mermaidman in action again. Yee! I can't do an impersonation of him. I tried. Okay, let me try again. I'll do it. This is the most fun. Okay, that was horrible. Some characters you just can't really do a good impersonation of, I guess. So now that the evil SpongeBob is thwarted by Mermaidman and Barnacleboy, they feel kind of rejuvenated, and yeah, maybe we should unretire. And so they do. And in fact, they even get a new TV show, which is much less action-packed than their original show, but that doesn't mean anything to super fanboys like SpongeBob and Patrick, because they get to see their heroes yet again, fighting the scourge of checkers and broken phones and stuff. But yeah.
And so with that, dear viewers, that is the end of this fantastic episode.
Well, it's pretty much what you would expect from a SpongeBob episode, just silly, silly, silly. Pretty zany and pretty ridiculous, but still a great little episode. And it makes total sense, because if there's gonna be a major superhero that SpongeBob's gonna really look up to, it's gonna be Aquaman. Well, I guess maybe Namor the Submariner, but you know, Aquaman's just so much more known. Even though Namor came first and Aquaman was a copy of him, you know, but anyway. And the name of the guy too, right? Mermaidman, like... Like, they couldn't have come up with a better name.
Merman. Merman!
No, that doesn't really fit. Mermaidman, not Merman, you know, because it was mermaids who saved him, so he's just giving homage to the mermaids who saved his life underwater. So yeah, Mermaidman, not Merman. One of the things this episode does pretty good is it plays up on the perceived uselessness of Aquaman. Like, he was kind of made into a joke, you know, with the whole Super Friends cartoon, like just kind of a silly character, right? Like, all he can do is talk to fish and, you know, breathe underwater. Like, yay, what a guy. So Mermaidman being portrayed as senile who's not getting things right kind of plays up with that a bit, you know, like, and well, you know, Mermaidman can't be as cool as Jason Momoa, but you know, who can really, right? Actually, one thing kind of researching this for this episode, I kind of did a bunch of research on Aquaman as well, and man, it's like, he isn't that useless, worthless character, you know, he can do more than just talk to fish. He has an incredible amount of powers. I've actually gained a lot of respect for Mermaidman's source material. One of the weird zany things about this episode is, you know, kind of seeing the characters aging and kind of retiring and not being superheroing anymore. Like, when you read comics, man, this comic character never ages. You keep reading the same comic character for like 3 decades and they're still like in their early 20s, you know? You can go back to Superman comics from the 1940s. He's still, you know, the same age, right? The actors portraying the characters may get old for sure, but like the characters themselves, like, it is kind of weird to see your old superhero hero being like an old man retired and, you know, not really doing much of anything except yelling for more meatloaf. It kind of makes you feel older when you see your old childhood heroes, you know, retired. But yeah, you know, if you haven't seen this one or any of the other Mermaidman and Barnacleboy episodes, I'd say check them out because they're pretty neat. But yeah, I guess that's enough me talking about that stuff. So let's see what else I can talk about for behind the scenes stuff. Okay, so Mermaidman is clearly and beyond obviously a homage to Aquaman. It couldn't be more clear. He also has a bunch of different aspects of other characters thrown into him as well. So first, let's do the obvious Aquaman comparison with the guy. Right off the bat, his entire look. Damn, that is Aquaman, just with a starfish on his face and a couple of seashells. You know, his powers are basically identical. Being able to communicate and controlled aquatic life, the whole water ball power thingamabobber, especially, well, I guess when he was younger, his advanced strength, like, dude's pretty awesome. He also has some other kind of accessories that were borrowed from Batman, like he has his secret lair, the Mer lair, which is basically the Batcave but underwater. He has a phone that's directly linked to the police commissioner, the Aqua phone, which is exactly like the Bat phone, right? And he even has his own car, the Boatmobile, very similar to the Batmobile, and it's invisible, which is actually quite the nod to Wonder Woman with her invisible plane. In the featured episode, SpongeBob started to paint the Boatmobile so you can see it, kind of. And also with Batman, seeing as a lot of Bat costumes did have the Bat nipples emblazoned on the front, I guess Mermaidman didn't want those to show through, so he put some seashells on top to cover that up, so there's no controversies there. And there is also a nod to the Wonder Twins, made famous in the TV show cartoon Super Friends, with their ring power activation. So both duos have these special rings that they have to activate together in order for them to get their powers working. So yeah, kind of a bit of everything. Barnacleboy is obviously just straight up Aqua lad, somewhat of a similar appearance, except for the hat and stuff like that. To me, it kind of looks a bit like Gilligan. And to be honest, the aging versions of Mermaidman and Barnacleboy kind of do remind me of Gilligan and the Skipper, you know, kind of the same, somewhat of a look. I don't know, I don't know if that was intentional, but to me, I just kind of see those two kind of like as those guys. Also with Mermaidman wearing the starfish on his face, yeah, as if that doesn't remind you of Starro the Destroyer. Obviously not the same level of destruction, but more of a life-saving underwater breathing thing, but you know, still pretty similar visual. Now, when you're watching the show, you're probably thinking a lot of the inspiration, especially from the original original show that Patrick and SpongeBob were watching would be, oh yeah, they're definitely ripping on Super Friends, or they're definitely ripping on the original Batman. Well, I guess yeah, with the Batman show they kind of did. But if you've ever watched especially the intro to the original Aquaman cartoon from the 1960s, like, man, the intro that we've seen at the beginning of this episode for the Mermaidman and Barnacleboy TV show is basically identical to that 1960s Aquaman intro, and that's beautiful to see. Similar scene of Aquaman flying through the seas, the use of Aquaman and Mermaidman's powers, and even the title screen of the show showing the show's name, like a very well done homage to that original show. Like, good on these guys for doing that. And the relationship between Aquaman and his young sidekick, Aqua Lad, is something that is shown with Mermaidman and Barnacleboy, especially in those old shows. It's a very similar mentor-apprentice kind of relationship like you've seen with Batman and Robin, but just underwater, so they still kind of have that relationship. Even how Barnacleboy copies a lot of Aqualad's funny sayings like suffering sea snakes, jumping jackfish, flipping flatfish, like stuff like that, carried over really well into this SpongeBob episode. So this featured episode is the first appearance of Mermaidman and Barnacleboy. They have made a plethora of appearances in other SpongeBob episodes, some of them directly based on them, like Mermaidman and Barnacleboy Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, Part 6, the motion picture, and Mermaidman Begins, just to name a few anyway. But in Mermaidman Begins, we see how he actually got his powers, kind of different from the way Aquaman did. You know, Aquaman being half human, half Atlantean. Mermaidman was some dude that lived on land. He fell into a whirlpool and is starting to drown, so some mermaids came up and saved him, put that starfish on his face so he can breathe underwater with it, eventually got his suit, which actually gives him his powers, and boom, he got an underwater superhero. Barnacleboy was another landlubber who was scraping barnacles off the side of a boat when he fell into the water. Mermaidman thought he was drowning, so he used his powers to put barnacles in his lungs so he can breathe underwater. I guess he could have just floated him back to the surface, but then how would you get a crime-fighting duo? Yeah, no, it works out. In Mermaidman and Barnacleboy 5, I think it was, we find out he is part of a team known as the International Justice League of Super Acquaintances. Which is a rip on, you know, Super Friends and the Justice League, I guess specifically Justice League International. And seeing as Mermaidman and Barnacleboy are combinations of some characters, the rest of the Super Acquaintances are pretty much the same. Seeing as Marvel Comics and DC Comics copied a lot of the same characters, just changed their names around, the Super Acquaintances are basically a homage to both of those different characters from the different companies, such as the Quickster, which is both a reference to the Flash and Quicksilver, Captain Magma being a combination of the Human Torch and Firestorm. The Elastic Waistband basically obviously would be like Plastic Man and or Mr. Fantastic. Missappear, who strongly resembles Wonder Woman but has the power of Invisible Woman. And the Pyrite Panderer, who is such a wonderful name, is a pretty big ripoff of the Silver Surfer. So out of all the characters that came and went within the SpongeBob world, Mermaidman and Barnacleboy have been retired from the show and they do not appear in any episodes past 2012. That is because the voice actor for Mermaidman, Ernest Borgnine, like a legendary actor, unfortunately died in 2012. Some producers, you know, will say things like the show must go on, let's get a replacement actor and keep the character going, but for the SpongeBob team, they're like, you know what, no. If Ernie can't do the show, then the character is done. The voice actor for Barnacleboy, the legendary Tim Conway, unfortunately died in 2019. So the real name for the character of Mermaidman was Ernie for Ernest Borgnine, and for Barnacleboy his real name was Tim for Tim Conway. So a nice bunch of love to the characters. And so other than that, I guess that's that. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.